Hi there. It's September the 25th, and we're continuing our journey through the prophecies of Isaiah, in Hebrew Yeshayahu, the Lord will save. We're looking at chapters 45 from verse 11 through to 48, verse 11. And we're continuing this theme of Cyrus coming and releasing the people of Israel. God is raising up Cyrus of Persia, who will overwhelm Babylon, and he will bring Babylon down, and that will allow the exiles to return. But not just the exiles will return. Isaiah foresees nations coming, the nations coming to help rebuild, the nations coming to help to serve. Israel will be saved, she will not be shamed. And he puts this in context of the fact that God alone is God. He says this again and again, that there is no other God. The idols are they're just metal idols, they're just metal made from man's hands. But God himself is God, and he will triumph. He will rescue Israel. And of course he's the one that Isaiah calls again and again, the Holy One of Israel. This is really Isaiah's name for God that is repeated more than anywhere else here in the prophecies of Isaiah. He's the Holy One of Israel. And also every knee, all of the nations, every knee, it says, will bow. Every tongue will confess. Of course, that's echoed in the New Testament, speaking of Jesus, the one to whom the Father gives the name above every name. But it's here in Isaiah that he says every knee will bow, every tongue will confess, and God will be glorified in the seed of Israel. Then in chapter 46, we see it opens with the idols of Babylon being carried off. And this is something of a caricature picture, because these are the idols, these are the non-gods, these are the gods who are supposed to be rescuing Babylon, and instead they're the ones who are being rescued, and they're the ones who are being carried away to protect them. God then turns the table and says in verse 4, but actually I will carry you to Israel. Says, you will not have to carry me, I will carry you. Unlike Bel and Nebo, these idols that the Babylonians are taking away, God is going to bear them in his arms, because he alone is God. He alone can save. And what he purposes, he does. This is very much the theme of this chapter. And then in chapter 47 we see Babylon brought down. The Babylon, there's the picture of a young woman, the virgin Babylon, the young women of Babylon sitting in distress and destruction. They're no longer called the Lady of Babylon, they're no longer called the proud ones. Instead they are facing the destruction that themselves they wreaked on others. And it's no good, says Isaiah, when looking to astrologers, looking to stargazers, he says there's no warmth in them there's no fire in them to warm themselves by. There's nothing in them that will help them in this situation, again, because the Lord is God. And then lastly in chapter 48, the first part of 48 that we're reading, there are words here to Israel, to the northern kingdom, who has set itself apart from Judah and from Jerusalem, and has gone into the worship of the false idol, the calf gods, which Jeroboam and his descendants set up. But it says at the end of this part of this chapter, this first part of the chapter, it says that God will rescue, God will save for his name's sake, because he loves Israel as well, because Israel is part of his covenant promises, he will also save them. One thing that comes through again and again is that God alone is God. There's no point looking to other sources, other help. Only he is God, and he is the Holy One, he is the matchless one, he is the peerless one. And here in this part of Isaiah we see that God will bring the nations together. He will bring the nations together to rescue them and to save them, because he is the one who rescues, he is the only one who saves. Have a very good September 25th.